Have you ever dreamed about getting to a place? Like literally dreamed about it, but for whatever reason you just couldn't make it happen? Black Lake was this for me. We'd been trying to get there for 3 years and everything from weather to flipping our trailer stopped us from making it. This is the only high mountain lake accessible by car in the Seven Devils Mountains, and this was our chance to finally make it to this little slice of paradise. But paradise turned out to be intense in ways we were not ready for. The last time we tried to do Black Lake, we had a beautiful night on a mountain, and the next morning on our way there, the trailer hit a freak bump in the road at just the right angle and flipped, stopping us in our tracks. Since then, Chris and I went back to work on Hicks and restore our beloved little Bantam trailer back to trail readiness. This would be a redemption trip, both for Hicks and for Chris, who still hasn't stopped beating himself up after flipping Hicks the first time. We had a long way to go and only a weekend to do it, so we went as far as we could on pavement before hitting dirt and airing down just outside of an old abandoned ski mountain. So we reached the spot where we're gonna air down. Now I wanna be really clear, we're airing down Hicks. The trailer's tires are being aired down. Chris is over there doing it right now. So this is called Hit Mountain that we're about to climb up. It's an old ski hill. It's right next to what's called Sturgill Peak, which is the highest mountain around here at about 7,400 feet.
Had some time, so I just took some time to walk around the corner here, and there is another little building, and I swear it's a chalet. I think these are old ski houses that people built in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and it's so cool. I'm a little sad to think maybe they've been abandoned, but this is so cool. I can't wait to explore more.
We're off on a crazy adventure to get back to Black Lake. I cannot wait for tomorrow so we can start on this adventure that I've been wanting to do for a year. And we've got Hicks with us, so it's gonna be total redemption. Just like that, this Friday night in the middle of the Idaho summer got a little more interesting. Driving up this old abandoned ski hill was just the beginning of interesting things that would happen on this trip, starting with me taking a bit of a wrong turn in search of a campsite. It's very tight in here. We are taking lots of pinstripes. Not that that bothers me. Ship sailed with Finn long ago. Yeah, lots of overhanging branches and just feels very old. Very old and not very used. It was Chris who found a clearing for us to camp. It wasn't the most epic we'd ever seen. That would come later, but it had a good vibe. Found a spot?
I think so. It's got a good feel to it. It doesn't have like expansive views or water running through it or anything. It does have a dust cloud.
Only, you're welcome. You're welcome for that. That was my present to you.
Yeah, I would give this a B to B+.
Okay, well, let's camp.
Okay.
We're camping! So we started setting up camp in our little meadow on the mountain, and Kate started getting some of her frustrations out while cleaning off Finn. It's like you're beating up the Jeep.
I am. I take some anger out. It's helpful for stress relief.
This is how we discipline our kids too. So tonight will be the first time we try out the new canvas that we got for our Desert Armor Tank XL rooftop tent. I had a bad zipper. And then about right there is when it starts catching and not zipping anymore. This one's black. It's supposed to be better for like keeping out the sunlight in the mornings. You can sleep in a little bit and all that. So let's take a look at what the black canvas looks like.
Looks very chic. And by chic, I mean super woodsy and hardcore.
But most importantly, the new zipper works. So that's what I'm the most happy about. Wait a minute, Chris, this is your new Bushveld.
I pronounced Bushveld.
Bushveld, right? Because your OVS had an adhesive curing issue, and so they sent you a new tent. OVS did, right?
They did. Yeah, actually, they sent me 2 new tents. The first one, whoever shipped it just totally destroyed like the box, and the top was cracked. So I contacted OVS and they said, sorry, we'll send you another one. And you know, a few days later, this one showed up. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, good, you deserve it, dude.
Well, thank you. And thanks to OVS. you know what? They're awesome. They stand by their products and they take good care of you.
The woods around us felt older and wilder than most. That didn't stop the kids from venturing out, but not too far out. As we finished setting up camp, the sun was just beginning to set, which gave us a lavender evening sky. The summer heat made for haze over the valley that reminded us how nice and cool it was to be on a mountain. But we didn't have much time to enjoy looking at the sky, as there was some important work to be done around camp. Kate was making sure we didn't all die of thirst, and Chris was making sure we didn't starve by making pork chops on our Otzi grill for dinner.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. And I hope it doesn't make you sick.
Okay, Kate, how is it?
It's so good. It's got that perfect like flame, I don't know, charcoal flavor, and the cauliflower is like got the just perfect amount of spice. It's delicious.
As the sky turned dark, it offered up our first of many exciting moments on this trip. Strange lights in the night sky.
Is that a Starlink?
Maybe? I mean, I have no idea.
It is a.
That's not normal. What's that possible?
It's fading away now?
Lord.
Did you get it, Will?
Yeah. The next morning, we woke up relieved to find that none of us were abducted by a UFO. We were in good spirits as we packed up camp and got ready to hit the road to Black Lake. Good morning. We are just packing up and ready to hit the trail. We kind of had a quick breakfast, quick coffee this morning because we're anxious to kind of get on the trail so we can hopefully get to our next destination earlier in the day and have time to enjoy it. Right now, we're gonna just get the last few things in the Jeeps and hit the trail. Chris, how did Hicks do yesterday?
You hardly even know that it's back there, so.
We're gonna put a lot of dirt under the wheels today, see how it goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how it does on maybe a little bit more technical terrain, but I think it's gonna do fine.
We shall see. So we were off. Our first stop would be Hell's Canyon, because I didn't just want to go to Black Lake, I wanted to drive up the side of the deepest river gorge in North America to get there. But not everyone was sharing my enthusiasm for that idea. Hello, ma'am, I just want to talk to you about your car insurance. Just want to talk to you, you don't have to run away, just want to talk to you about your car insurance. Getting to Hell's from Hit Mountain meant winding through about 20 miles heading towards Highway 71. That would take us to Oxbow for gas before heading up the canyon. This part of Idaho gets scorched by the sun in the summer, and we were at the beginning of the point where the landscape changes from high desert to forested mountains. The road was boring to drive, but the scenery was enough to keep us entertained. Once we hit pavement, we beelined for Oxbow, Oregon, which is about 30 miles from where we were. The drive takes you over the Oxbow Dam and across the Snake River. The place to stop and gas up in Oxbow is called Scotty's, and they have great snacks for kids, including ice cream. With our tanks full and the kids on a sugar high, we set off to find the entry point to the Kleinschmidt grade. Everything I'd read up to this point just said there was a steep grade and a severe cutoff, which is exactly why I wanted to try it. So we are about to hit the Kleinschmidt grade. I've been thinking about this road ever since we did Hell's Canyon on the Oregon side a few years ago. And I thought, what is that? So I went to look at it and I found what it was. I found it's a road you can drive on and it goes up to Cooper, Idaho. It should be exciting, should be some incredible views. Let's go check it out. As we approached the road called the Kleinschmidt grade, there were some troubling signs. Basically, the signs were telling us not to do exactly what we were doing. So, we did what any Idahoan would do. Smiled and drove a little bit faster. The Kleinschmidt grade is 22 miles of switchbacks that climbs 3,000 feet. It was built by Albert Kleinschmidt back in 1891 in order to get the copper from his mine down to steamboats on the Snake River. He never made any money on the copper mine, but this road turned out to be the real gem anyway. As we drove up the side of the deepest river canyon in North America, the Snake River started getting smaller and smaller below us, and the surrounding mountains began to reveal themselves. Even in the dead of summer, Hell's Canyon is beautiful. It's an ancient place, a place Native Americans say where the gods trapped evil giants and held them until it became what we know today as the Seven Devils Mountains, whose peaks give shade to the lake we were headed to. As we reached the top and began to cross over the backside, I thought we'd just seen the most scenic part of the trip. Boy, was I wrong about that. But before we got to more views, we had one more interesting stop on the road ahead.
Whew. Well, we just finished climbing the Clenchment grade. We're about to drop down into Cuprum now, and I'm all sweaty from running around with the camera, but it's just so beautiful, it's hard not to. So this is really fun. The road is in amazing shape. This is not a technical drive at all. This is an easy drive. It's just mental because you're on like a 1,000-foot ledge. But we're about to get to Cuprum, and then we're gonna go see if we can find Smith Mountain Fire Lookout and get that vantage point. But first, let's go see what Cuprum's all about.
Cuprum is a Latin word for copper, and while there's no shortage of that stuff around here, no one has been able to profitably get the copper out. What remains is a charming summer home community with owners that clearly take pride in their land.
So Chris, how's Hicks doing back there so far?
So far so good. There was a few spots where it was like really bumpy and I could see it kind of bouncing around a little bit, but I don't think it ever even came close to going over.
Well, not going over is good.
Yeah, definitely.
When you look at maps as much as I do, sometimes you start to dream in topo, where your imagination starts to fill in the lines and colors. But no dream came close to matching what we were about to see as we approached Smith Mountain Lookout. The skies looked as if Renoir or Monet had painted them, and the fire tower on top felt like it was calling us to come and see it. There was zero debate between us on whether or not we should drive up the rocky road to the top, so away we went. This would be a mini test for Hicks as the road changed from easy dirt to more uneven rocks, and I have to think Chris was feeling confident but also suffering from a little PTSD from the last time Hicks flipped. However, as we approached the last section, there was literally a no Jeeps sign, so we hoofed it to the top for a better view. And better views is what we got. Those wavy lines I dreamed about on the topo map turned out to be one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen in Idaho or anywhere else.
So we climbed up to the Smith Mountain Lookout. It's been a really cool hike. It's this totally worth the drive up here, worth the effort. This is the kind of stuff that stays with you for a long time after. So I feel really blessed that we were able to take this trip.
We were now starting down the last section of trail leading into Black Lake. And it's drives like this that keep me from rushing to places like California, Utah, or Colorado. When your backyard is this good, why in the world would you go anywhere else? This summer, I drove all of Idaho on dirt roads, from the very bottom to the very top, over 1,200 miles. I saw some amazing places, but I think it's safe to say that this drive from Hell's Canyon to Black Lake at this time of year is the most beautiful drive I've ever taken in Idaho.
So we're getting pretty close to Black Lake, and this drive has just been spectacular. This has been one of my favorite drives, maybe of all time. I mean, it's just so scenic, it's so beautiful. Can't wait to see what the lake has to hold, because the drive out's been amazing. Now you can start coming down the hill a bit, like passenger. Yeah, you're going straight ahead, so right where Kate is.
We were here. We'd finally made it to Black Lake. So I guess the question we were all wondering was, is Black Lake worth the trip? The Seven Devils are a series of majestic Rocky Mountains, and Black Lake is nestled between Pyramid Peak and Purgatory Saddle at around 7,000 feet. There's actually not a lot to say about this lake, other than it was definitely worth the trip. Our little campsite was right on the lake. We had plenty of space for our 2 rigs, the kids had lots of space to play, and the weather was out of a magazine cover, at least for now. We set up camp and everyone started getting ready to enjoy the lake, which almost seems to be in a caldera, with relatively shallow shores followed by an incredibly deep drop-off in the center of the lake, which, it seemed, we would have entirely to ourselves.
So we made it to Black Lake, and let me tell you, it is fantastically beautiful here. It's this natural mountain lake surrounded by rocky cliffs, and the water is pristine, and the surroundings are incredible, and we have our own little private beach area, little access to the water here, with a nice fire pit and lots of open space. The only downside is that this particular campsite's pretty dusty, so it's gonna be a little bit dirty, but we've got the lake to wash our legs off, so that's gonna be okay too. Anyway, super grateful we got here later than I thought. Of course, I thought we were gonna be here at like 1 p.m. It's 4. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. The detour to the Smith Mountain Lookout was definitely worth it. So super glad we did that, even though we got into camp a little bit later. But for now, I think we're just going to get the paddleboard out, let the kids play in the water, maybe sit in the shade, enjoy the afternoon, and soak it all in.
There are moments you get to have in life that you never forget for whatever reason. And for me, the sweet redemption of Hicks making it here, the natural beauty of this mountain lake, and seeing my kids living their best life on that paddleboard, well, it's what I was dreaming of. And honestly, I still dream about it. However, in the middle of our serenity, Mother Nature decided to change her mind.
No, you stay right there, buddy. So we have this massive storm that just hit. Like, we're talking torrential downpour, thunder and lightning. This was not in the forecast. So I don't know what's going on right now. We're a little nervous. But
There's like lightning that is striking all around us.
yeah, so it feels dangerous at the moment. Like there was another lightning flash right there. So we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do, but this is a lot more than we bargained for today. I think we'll kind of stick it out for the next few minutes and see. Oh my God.
It is right over us.
Oh my God, it is right on the top of us right now. So
Yeah, I don't know if like the old adage of like thunder and then count until you see the lightning is true or not, but
it's like simultaneous.
It is right over us.
So not sure what we're gonna do, but oh man, a little nervous.
It's moments like this where good gear and a nimble setup come in really handy. Even though it was pouring all around us, we huddled under the awning and tried to stay positive.
Okay, this is us, and there's M. He's trying to get good shots of the, like he's on the camera crew, trying to get good shots of the rain. Attaboy, buddy. And hopefully it passes soon, but everything's wet. Thank God we have good gear like awning, and you know, we were able to like get under our awning, and we have this little light so we can see what's going on. And you know, we're wet, but we're cozy.
There's another one, but that one's further away. And it's at the moment, it's like panic. It's like, okay, safety.
We're
safety,
gonna die.
Right? Like, well, but it's like protection, right? Yeah. It's like those instincts that you have, and they kick in, and I'm like running around like a crazy person. We all were. But anyway, so that's very reminiscent of our first time camping. But now it's settling down. We think it's going to end. We checked out the weather on our Garmin, and we think in like an hour, it'll be over.
I gotta say, I was so happy. This thing set up so fast. It's like the storm hit, and it was like, boom, we had shelter.
Literally lightning fast.
Yeah. All right, we're seeing a little sunlight up there. We're thinking maybe this storm's gonna pass. There's sunlight up there.
Oh, I see a rainbow, you guys.
Up there, there's
Oh,
there it is, yeah. That rainbow is getting brighter and brighter. It's a double rainbow! Oh my God, what does it mean? What does a double rainbow mean? Oh my God. It's so beautiful, so amazing. Well, the storm has passed. You can see the lake is still again, and there's no wind. There's no rain. Really, I think the rain is all gone. It's just kind of dripping from the trees. You know, something like this just actually makes you feel closer to the people that you're with. There's this kind of sense of that you survived, even though I don't think we're ever in really like actual danger. But when you hear that thunder and it's right above your head and you can tell there's lightning strikes, you definitely it does something to you instinctually. But
Our chairs are all wet, so I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna like sit by the lake tonight. But we'll figure it out. There's still some night to be enjoyed tonight, and we're gonna definitely do that. Although it was hard to get a fire going with wet wood, we managed. And then we decompressed, watching the flames before calling it a night. It is a world-class, beautiful morning here. It's like that. Had a storm the night before, and the next day is just peaceful. I think the storm is making this morning even more peaceful. The lake is glass. There's like this incredible reflection of the mountains and the trees, and the temperature is perfect. Sky's blue. The sun's just kind of creeping up over the mountains right now. And Chris and I were the first up, so we were the first to make coffee. And now we're just gonna sit and chill and enjoy this beautiful moment. So we're just packing up camp here and about to hit the road. So we tried to let the tents dry out a little bit because they were wet, both from the rain on the outside and all the moisture in the air caused a ton of condensation on the inside. So it's a bit of a wet mess, but nothing that we can't just air out when we get home. I'm always amazed by how these tents dry out so quickly. So that Idaho sun when we get home should do the trick. So Hicks has done amazing on this trip. He's, that trailer, number one, took the standard dirt roads just fine. Number two, we did a little more technical driving when we drove up to the fire lookout and did great. So I feel like Hicks has definitely redeemed himself, and more importantly, Chris has redeemed himself, because Chris has taken it really hard that he flipped the trailer, even though it really wasn't his fault. So that's been a success. And now the best part is when we leave this amazing, beautiful campsite, we get these incredible views on the way out. So we're gonna head down a different way that we came in, and then we're gonna beeline back to Boise because we have to go to work tomorrow. We have jobs and lives we have to get back to. So right now we're gonna finish packing up. We're gonna hit the road, see some amazing views, and then get home. It had been a long and amazing summer full of big trips, lots of new friends, and exciting changes in our lives. With all these new things happening around us, to us, and by us, we had drifted ever so slightly away from who we used to be, and that's okay. But coming out to the Seven Devils to find this little lake and weather a storm together, just us, just me and Kate and Chris and the kids, was a good reminder of two things. One, Idaho is amazing. Kate and I were both born here, as were our kids, and I can't think of a better place to raise them, where a normal weekend for them is having an adventure like this one. And two, the best gift you can give yourself in this life is to surround yourself with good people. So, check. And thank you, and you're welcome.